Welcome to the MLB Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guys Mo Nawara in the Midwest, and we've got Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at these league championship series here, gentlemen. The ALCS is now in that LCS. We've got the Astros and the Yankees, as we know. Also have game 2 of the Phillies and Pods after the Phillies went up 1-0 in the NLCS. Want to make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to follow along with us as we're running through this MLB postseason with you guys. Also want you to head to thelines.com, have all of our great written content up there. Also have our great odds finder tool that you can go ahead and use to make sure you're shopping all of those MLB lines to the best of your ability across U.S. sportsbooks. So let's go ahead and jump into starting with that ALCS, since we've got a game 1 here, gentlemen. Series price for the Astros, minus 215, and the Yanks, plus 180. In this game 1, we've got minus 205 for the Astros with Verlander on the mound, and the Yanks plus 172 on that money line with Tyone going for them. So kick things off for me, Nate, and look and tell me where you're starting. How do you like that series price and obviously that game 1 as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's been some crazy fluctuation in terms of that money line right now. It's at minus 170 for Houston after climbing up to minus 210. I think people are looking at Verlander as not necessarily the difference maker, or just, taking the value on the Yankees at nearly plus 200. But I don't think Verlander's going to throw out 2 postseason stinkers in a row. He's pitched very well against the Yankees, and there's the massive rest advantage here that obviously makes the Astros very favored there. I mean, they already had a huge edge in terms of overall pitching staff, bullpen, fielding. And now that bullpen's been off since Saturday. Obviously, the Yankees had to travel after winning last night. And you look at the Astros, their numbers, 10-3 with at least 2 days off since 2020, 18-5 with at least 1 day off this year. They've won 5 of their last 6 against the Yankees. And the pitching matchup, I mean, we talked about Jameson Taillon when we thought he was going to start on Monday before the rain out. He has not been as good this year. I mean, his record might indicate he pitched well, but you look at the swinging strike rate, it's dropped considerably. The fastball rating has dropped huge from plus 12 to minus 4 in 1 year. And Houston hits him really well. I mean, you look at their 3 big bats. Alvarez and Bregman are both 2 for 6 with a homer. Altuve's 4 for 9 with 2 doubles off this guy. And so you can't really go with a bullpen game considering how gassed the Yankees bullpen is going to be after that 5-game series that ended last night. So I'm not one to bet on minus 190, though, in a baseball game, period. But I think that game 1 of this series should go to the Astros, and then you get the old double up Astros game 1 win series, and that's even money. So, I mean, why not? If they're going to start 1-0, I think they can press that advantage and win this series. I mean, I would even look at even money for the Astros to close this in 6 games or less at plus 100.
Yeah, this morning I saw a plus 170 for the Yankees for game 1. I was a little bit interested in that, but looks like so were sharp people in the market who got rid of that number. So it's no longer available. The best I'm seeing is a plus 165 now. I think plus 165 is flipping coins. I just can't bet it at that price. I'm the low man on Verlander. We know this all season. The Yankees match up okay against him. He throws a lot of fastballs. They were 7th against the 4-seamer, and his secondary is his slider. The Yankees hit sliders very well this year. They were 3rd best against sliders. I don't think the rest thing is as big of a deal. I mean, baseball, it's baseball. These teams are used to traveling and playing the next day. They only used Loaisaga basically for like an amount that I think he's going to be unavailable today. Other than that, I mean, Clay Holmes pitched an inning, but I'm assuming he can still go an inning today. They had days off before that. So I think with 2 right-handed leaning offenses in a park that's very strong for right-handed bats, I saw a plus 104 this morning. I'm still seeing some plus 100s on over 7. I think that's worth a look. Not usually excited to bet many overs in the postseason, but man, with these offenses in that park, and a guy in Tyone who is just fine. I think he's a roughly average pitcher, and like I said, Verlander, not a guy I'm rating as high as the market. So over 7 at plus has me a little bit interested. But as far as the series price goes, I thought it was fair. I told people in the Discord minus 175 was probably a good price. It opened around minus 175, minus 180, I think. So not any interest in wagering on the series price on this one.
Yeah, I would feel all of that. It's funny that you faded Verlander pretty much from start to finish the whole season, and then finally got that bad start from him in the playoffs when it came around. You keep hitting it, you'll finally get something right there, right? I do agree, though, that this is not the best matchup for him. I would be a little bit worried, at least after we saw him break down in that other matchup in this postseason. So I do think that this tonight, I like the over angle that you're talking about here, Mo. I think there's a little bit of value there based on the fact that, the last 2 series, especially for that Cleveland series for the Yanks. Obviously, Cleveland didn't really come along for the ride in scoring runs in the games that they lost. So I think that's another good opportunity here to get this at a lower total than it might turn out to be after we see a few runs scored in this series. So moving on to the NLCS here, gentlemen, where we are up 1-0 for the Phils after a really, really, really good combined pitching performance, obviously started by Zach Wheeler and his 7 shutout innings. Schwarber going deep, nearly hit a ball 500 feet in that one as well. In this one, we've got Blake Snell on the mound versus Aaron Nola. Not exactly a regression for the Phils there, as Aaron Nola is really good as well on top of Wheeler. So what do you do with this one? The Pods are now, they're obviously down a bit and plus 750, I believe, if you want to get them with a very specific bet that you were talking about here, Nate, with the Pods over the Astros in that World Series potential. So what are you looking at here for the odds? Are you still liking the Pods to come out of this one and actually looking ahead to how you can make some more money off of them?
I'm a little concerned when you look at this matchup, but we do like games 3 and 4 as they line up further away for the Padres. So you could even look at them, if you want to get even better odds for this particular series, if they fall into a 2-0 hole, you're definitely going to get some interesting bets here. I was just looking at the World Series forecast. Yeah, I expect the Astros to be there. So if you take either side of that, you could get the Pods over them at 750, or you can get the Astros to beat the Pods at nearly plus 500. We talked about before this game 1, we expect the Phillies to win, and then we expect the Padres to be able to come back and win the series. I'm a little, I'm starting to get Team of Destiny vibes, though, from the Phillies. I'd be a little scared. I know Mo's invested already in hopes that those Pods will pull out of this. But you look at the matchup, it's not good for San Diego here. Snell went 0-2 with a 6.8 ERA against the Phillies, a team that crushes lefties. Has a good numbers in the playoffs overall, but also very high walk rate in those starts. And Nola, similar to Zach Wheeler, just a righty that can spin it, and that's pitched very well against San Diego. 10 Ks, 1 earned over 7 innings this year. Handled lefties really well, drawing a high 37% outside swing rate. Interesting that the Padres posted the lowest outside swing rate after the All-Star break, so they should be disciplined against him. I think the recipe for success for them here is to keep it close and get it to that bullpen. And the Phillies bullpen still kind of overachieving. So if they can get it there, I think they can even this series. And I would look at the plus 1.5 for the series for the Pods to at least force Game 7 if they don't mind it and end up winning this thing. But I think you'd favor them at home in a Game 7 if it does get there.
Not the best start for the Padres, obviously, but they've had this tendency to have their offense disappear at times this year, for sure. We've seen it all year. I'm not that worried yet. I think I would still buy into the Padres. I'm already pretty heavily invested, like you said, though, Josh. So not going to add any more, but just going to keep sweating it and hoping good things happen from here on out. We did talk about how good the Phillies hit lefties. 115 WRC plus. That was 6th in baseball. The nice thing for Snell today, he's been relying pretty heavily on his slider lately. The Phillies did produce a negative run value against the slider. They were still like a fringe top 10, I believe, but sliders did overall cost them. San Diego, they produced a positive run value against curveballs, although they only ranked 12th. That's Aaron Nola's best weapon, so that could be helpful for them here. Both starters had really strong game ones as far as like Darvish and Wheeler go. So what that basically means here is both bullpens are going to be pretty much well stocked and saved most of their bullets. Even the Phillies throwing their high leverage guys, none of them had any like especially heavy workload. So I think they'll still at least be available for an inning today. Under 6.5 at plus, I thought made some sense. I'd be willing to look at that one. I think, yeah, both. The thing about Snell, I know that he had those tough games and the Phillies did hit lefties, but I don't think it's that relevant because when you look at the way Snell's season went, he was so much better in the second half and really cleaned things up, his approach, his mechanics. Those starts against Philly were in May and June, so I just don't think it's anything to worry about right there. So just going to hope Snell pulls through here. The line looks exactly fair to me. I had this at minus 115, so wouldn't have any interest in either side on the main line for game 2.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, this one, especially as you mentioned a couple of times, the Phillies just crushing that lefty pitching. So I don't know. I'm with you, Mo. I don't know that I would try to recoup anything from that, first game 1 in the pods. I think you just wait this out. It's a long series. It's baseball. You grind it out and see if you can get those pods to pull something out here. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that page. Continue to follow along with us during this MLB postseason as we are going to continue coming back to you guys. So until we see you next, happy betting.